Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
Breaking news tonight, several law enforcement agencies on the scene in Arthur, North Dakota, investigating what started as a report of kidnapping.
That was called in around 8:45 tonight. Authorities say it involves a juvenile, but we have just received word that the report of a kidnapping was false, so residents of Arthur can rest a little easier. Now, initial unconfirmed reports say the girl called 911 to say she had been kidnapped by a man in her mom's car, but her mom wasn't in the vehicle. The girl says the man drove her a couple miles out of town and that she punched him and got away. Authorities did say that a car was found abandoned outside of Arthur, and it is tied to the parent of the juvenile. They continue to work with the family to sort out what happened. Arthur is northwest of Fargo.
Family and friends gathered today in Grand Forks to pay respect for the Talmadge children whose lives were taken by their mother, Astra Volk.
It was an emotional day for all in attendance, mourning the lives lost too soon, along with their mother, who family members say suffered from mental illness.
Valley News Chief Joseph Ojo was there as the community honored the life of 3 kids whose lives were tragically lost.
Heartbroken and in disbelief.
I can't even look at their pictures. It just doesn't feel real.
As loved ones celebrated the short lives of the 3 Talmadge children. Filled with emotion, many scenes of tears flowing freely were on display as mourners passed by images of Ariana, Aiden, and Tyler. Heavy sorrow amongst family and friends who loved them, especially in Volk's older sister, Janet.
I talked to her the Monday night before, and she was her normal, sarcastic, dry-humored self.
Janet says she heard about her family's horrific death on the news and said that she never saw any signs that her sister Astra could actually harm herself or her children.
If I had any idea that she ever thought about, taking her own life, I would have stepped in. Astra was so against guns. She once got mad at me for buying water pistols for her kids.
After the service, all in attendance headed outside to release balloons in the air, symbolizing they are letting go of their loved ones and letting the grieving process begin. As those in attendance continue to mourn, we continue to learn a little more into the life of the mother of the 3 children, Astra Volk. One of her very close friends who attended the funeral service refuted claims that Volk would discuss harming her kids. She says that Volk was a kind person and she would help out with many benefits and charities, touching the hearts of many around her.
She was an extremely loving, caring person.
With her passing, Volk's close friend Kelly Bakken hopes others won't judge her before understanding the dynamics of the situation.
People need to understand the mental illnesses and stuff, and you don't know what people are going through and what these illnesses do to people. So to quit with all the negativity because it hurts. I mean, she's got other children and this tears them apart and it hurts them and her family and her friends.
In Grand Forks, Joseph Ojo, Valley News Live.
Before the tragedy, Volk did set up a GoFundMe page citing that she and her children suffered from mental illness. Volk wrote that she was looking for help paying the family's medical bills.
A Fargo woman is recovering from injuries that she suffered in a rollover crash on I-94. Authorities say that 66-year-old Patricia Westerholm was heading west on I-94 east of Bismarck when her vehicle drifted over the median. Westerholm steered right, overcorrected, and lost control of her car before going into a ditch. She was taken to Sanford in Bismarck for treatment. The car was totaled.
There's been talk about special assessments lately in Fargo, and there's going to be more. Mayor Tim Mahoney says there will be a review and debate when the new city commission is seated in July. The mayor says the city recognizes that the current 50-50 funding model has created a handful of large assessments, namely along North Broadway and other major road projects. But he adds he's not prepared to see Fargo regress through policies that are not fully vetted. This comes after City Commissioner Tony Gehrig proposed a plan that would do away with specials by having developers pay the specials and adding the cost into the price of the new home, among other things. Mahoney says the city's budget is extremely complicated and making a modification in one area, while seemingly simple, may cause detrimental ramifications in other areas if not fully considered.
You may want to rethink your travel arrangements for next week if you use Cheyenne Street in West Fargo. A temporary bypass will be in use on Cheyenne Street beginning Monday, and this is so crews can safely install large storm sewer structures and pipe crossings under the road. The bypass will begin at 19th Avenue and extend 500 feet north. Traffic will be reduced to 15 miles per hour on that bypass. Drivers will have to use it until Monday, May 21st.
Authorities in northwestern North Dakota are searching for explosives that belong to the United States Air Force. Montreal County authorities say ammunition for an automatic grenade launcher was lost near Parshall. The explosives are contained in a green metal ammo can. Officials say a group of about 100 airmen searched the area several times but found nothing. The explosives are said to be dangerous and specific to the Air Force launcher and will not operate in any other device without catastrophic failure. Anyone with information about the explosives is asked to contact law enforcement.
We've had a couple cool days and we're ready for a warm-up. Robert, how's it looking in the near future?
Yeah, today warmer than yesterday. Tomorrow will be warmer than today. Right now, though, it is kind of cool out there. A mix of some 40s and some 50s. Right now, 57 in Fargo is your warm spot on the map. 55 Wahpeton, 47 up in Baudette. Winds are light. They're going to stay light as we head through the overnight hours. In fact, they're going to stay light as we head through your Saturday. We will have to deal with a bit of cloud cover as we head through tonight, especially across southern portions of the valley. Those will linger even into tomorrow. A lot of green showing up on the radar, but nothing reaching the ground. In fact, a lot of that just a little bit of interference with the local radar sites. As we head through the weekend, the warm-up continues. How warm do we get for Mother's Day? We'll let you know in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Robert.
3 years after a Minnesota woman was murdered, a suspect remains in jail but is yet to be charged. Investigators believe that Billy Herman kidnapped and murdered 36-year-old Amanda Engst, originally from Breckenridge, Minnesota. He allegedly beat Engst with a shovel, wrapped her in a tarp, and dumped her into the Cheyenne River while she was tied to a cinder block and still alive. Herman is being held at a Stillwater, Minnesota jail. Meanwhile, Herman's wife, 38-year-old Crystal Herman of Bismarck, was sentenced to 20 years in jail for her role in Engst's death. Court records say Crystal allowed Billy to strangle Engst and helped with the transportation of the body and held a flashlight while Billy beat Engst with a shovel. Both Hermans were arrested following a string of robberies in Minnesota and North Dakota.
With Fargo and West Fargo school districts moving forward with a special education-only facility at Agassiz, they'll have to staff it. North Dakota's Department of Public Instruction says there's a critical shortage of special education teachers, so much so that the state's Standards and Practices Board has loosened requirements for special ed teaching licenses. Local education leaders remain confident they can staff Agassiz.
I know people now that would like this type of position.
I know the Fargo-Moorhead area has a bit more far outreach than some of the other areas in our state because of where they're located.
Sleddy says they will pull from within the community to find the needed specialists for Agassiz.
That hotel room you stay in or your office might be smoke-free, but you could still be exposed to leftover chemicals from tobacco smoke. Why doctors are raising the alarm about third-hand smoke.
And runners are gearing up for marathons this summer, so we've got advice on how to make it through all that running.